All right, well, it is 4:30, Monday, February the 26th, and I believe that we're going to go ahead and get this meeting started. The BEDC Board reserves the right to reconvene, recess, or realign the regular session or call executive session on order of business at any time prior to adjournment. So we're going to call this meeting to order. First thing first, do we have any public comment to start with?
We do, but it's related to the MOCA.
Very good. Okay. Well, they're going to go right into the workshop session. This is 3A, workshop and possible action to discuss collaborative efforts and future partnerships with workforce development partners to include Smithville Workforce Training Center, the Austin Community College, Texas State Technical College, Community Action Workforce Solutions, BISD, and the Bastrop Chamber of Commerce, and others as may be necessary. So let's go ahead and get started, Sylvia.
So good afternoon, board, and thank you to our partners for showing up and showing out tonight. One of the fundamental focuses of BEDC for the foreseeable future is attracting businesses, and then with that business comes who's going to work there. We have so many efforts that it was important for us to understand as a board everything that you guys are doing out in the community, and then we can make a determination on how we can best support that so that we're not trying to recreate the wheel and try to do something a little bit different or that goes contrary to what you guys are doing. So I put an overhead slide up, and my clicker's going to work, I promise. Maybe. Okay. So the beginning of the presentation talks about 4 of our partners. The chamber isn't listed there because the chamber is just an overarching support to business, and they will have a discussion toward the end. Every one of the organizations will have about 5 to 10 minutes to talk about what they do. But as you can see, there are some focuses that are completely on doing the skilled training itself. There are some other organizations who provide the support so that the parents or employee can go get the training. There are organizations who are preparing for training, like BISD. There are organizations who are ready, willing, and able to take on, and the chamber fills that role, i.e. the businesses come, they need help, how to get that through. And then we have Smithville Workforce, who crosses the spectrum in a lot of those areas and also reaches into collaborative partnerships. So our thought was to show you what everybody does at a very high level and then hear it from them in a short speech. And then we will have a dialogue as to where the BEDC would like to go from there. And we may not decide it tonight. We may have additional discussions. We may ask for additional information. But again, it's just to get all the cards on the table. What's everybody doing and how can we best support that? So we will start.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
On our agenda, it included Austin Community College and TSTC, but I didn't see them on your slide.
They are not. I think one of our partners, maybe Smithville Workforce, may discuss what they're doing with those 2 partners.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So we will start with Community Action of Central Texas.
Okay, and where do I speak from?
At the podium, and here is your clicker.
Make sure is on.
Okay. You're on, and that's your clicker.
Okay, thank you. Well, what is it, evening or afternoon? It's still afternoon, so good afternoon. Board, Executive Director, and members who are here. I am Jackie Banks, and I am from Community Action. I've been there about 2 years now total, and I moved from Washington State down here and found things a lot different in Texas. Texas is its own animal, I'll say that much. So anyway, I'm working for Community Action now. We serve Bastrop County, and our mission is to help improve the economic self-resilience of our fellow Texans here in Bastrop specifically. And we offer a range of services, and we offer services we also offer services with our partners. We have many partners that we partner with. My clicker's not clicking.
So if you'll just say next, Rick will advance the slide.
Okay, next, Rick, thank you. Okay, next, Rick. This talks about some of the things we address, and I apologize, just a little nervous for starting out. Didn't know I was number one on the agenda.
Never mind, we're all.
Okay, let's see if I see any friendly faces here. So we address a number of needs in the community through job certification, high school completion, English skills, and digital literacy. And one of the things that we also address that I didn't see on the initial one is that we provide some job training as well. It's initial training, but it is job training that we provide, like CNA, phlebotomy, some of those job training skills that we have provided in the community and do provide in the community. We also partner with, next Rick, we also partner with a number of partners here in Bastrop and throughout the county, Bastrop County Cares, ISD. They provide us with our graduation. We host at their site. We work with the Combined Community Action out of Giddings. And so we work with a number of agencies, including the Smithfield Workforce Training Center, where we offer some of our classes there. Next, Rick. So how do we meet the needs? We're providing free classes. There are no eligibility requirements. So when they come to us, we're not asking them to see any paperwork or anything other than their driver's license. We want to be able to serve them. We want to be able to help them move forward in their lives. So we offer classes in the day, classes in the evening. We have career counseling that our wonderful Mr. Dale Burke provides for us. He does a lot. And some of our sites even offer child care services. We have some occupational certifications, as I stated before, that we offer. We also have free GED practice tests we provide for the people who participate in our programs, and we do referral services. And we have classes located in many areas throughout Bastrop. We are at Genesis, we're at Lost Pines, we're at Cedar Creek. We offer some classes at Pyrology. We just started new classes at McDade Elementary. We just started some new classes at Elgin ISD, some new classes at Elgin ACC through offering English as a second language and GED classes. So we're out in the community trying to get people to come in. Those people who are sometimes disenfranchised, those sometimes who have lost hope, those who've dropped out of high school and don't feel that they know what to do or how to get back in to schools. And so we're trying to let them know we're out there. And there's no charge. All they have to do is come to us. We were working with Norma Mikado when she was with Bastrop ISD, and she often sent numerous people to us. Next slide. Thank you. Oh, you already had. All right. I'll have to give you a couple dollars there. And so when you invest with community action, there is a return. There is a return on your investment. So here's next. Our success model looks like this. We focus on identifying and marketing to populations needing our services, looking at trends in education and in the workforce, and we look at social media. Then we do outreach into the community, working with our partners to provide educational opportunities that impact and support the members of our community. And then action is ongoing monitoring. We're always taking a look to see how we're doing, what we're doing, how we can make it better, where we need to be, where we need to have classes at. Or sometimes it's about closing classes. If that area is not meeting the expectation of the people there, we're not serving them the way that we should be, then we have to look at and make a determination. We're going to keep that class going. So we want to spend money wisely and well. How do we compare, Rick? If you look at the community colleges and what they offer and what we offer, there's really no comparison. Our classes, again, are free. I'm sorry that print is so little up there. Our classes are free, and our classes are generally offered twice a week, like Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. We don't have classes on Friday, yay. That's a good thing. And most of our classes are anywhere between about 16 weeks. That's a typical class for us. And then students are attending for a total of like 64 hours of direct instructions in those 16 weeks. So students may also receive online instruction and tutoring. We provide tutoring for them if they need tutoring. And students are progress tested after receiving 30 to 45 hours of instruction. We post-test them to see if they've made any gains, to see if our teachers are being effective. Next, Rick, thank you. So we're seeking funding support for our programs because we are nonprofit. And specifically, we look for funds for our 17 to 21-year-olds. There is no funding. Our grant does not allow us to support 17 to 21-year-olds. So we're always trying to find money for 17 to 21-year-olds. We also apply for other grants. We survey businesses to see what they need in terms of providing services. We contact businesses through surveys and schedule face-to-face meetings, and we contact local businesses to support our graduation celebration. So if that's something anyone here would like to do, we would encourage you to support our graduation celebration. It's a huge event held at the PAC Center. Thank you. I'm learning names around here. I'm just learning, I'm learning the new names around. Oh, it's the Jerry Wilhelm. Yes, thank you. So we have a graduation there every year in, I think it'll be June, the last weekend in June. And it's amazing to see how many people come out to, when people get their GEDs or just complete an ESL class, they turn out to support them because it's an accomplishment. And it feels so good to see 200-300 people there. To some people, a GED doesn't mean very much, but it's life-changing for a lot of people. It's truly life-changing. Okay, skip to the next. You can skip that one. I think that's me on the.
You had a teacher salary comparison. Did you want to skip that?
Let's see. Let me go back to that.
The slide right before that.
It's the slide before, Rick. Thank you. It was just a comparison showing that our teachers are paid comparably to what ACC teachers are paid.
Oh, okay.
That's what it pretty much was showing. So sometimes we were looking for teachers, and we want them to know that it's comparable. If they work for us, it's comparable. And the benefits are actually a little bit better in a way. Thank you. Thank you, Sylvia.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our team. The next slide, the people who work to try to get all of this done. And then I wanted to, I don't know where my time is. I forgot to look and see what time I started.
You're good.
The next slide, I wanted to, Rick, could you play that, please? These are short. They're like a minute. Oh, we don't have sound? Well, this is Leticia, and Leticia was a student of ours. She was in ESL class, and not only was she in ESL class, she finished that. Then she went into our GED class and got her GED. And when Community Action was looking for volunteers, she volunteered with us to help us. And then when a position came open, she is now an employee. So it just...
Hi, my name is Leticia Miranda. I want to share with you about how my life was changed thanks to Community Action. I started with the GED class, and I was a little worried about the math test because I'm not good at math, but thank God that I had an excellent teacher to help me a lot. Then I took the citizenship class, Excel and digital literacy, and during that time, Community Action gave me the opportunity to work as a volunteer. That helped me a lot to improve and build my self-confidence. Thanks to that, now I work for Community Action. I started a couple of years ago and as an online assistant and now I'm a site support specialist for the Valley and Cedar Creek. I'm very grateful for Community Action. They really changed my life.
Thank you. That was Leticia. You want to go to the next one, Rick?
Hi,
Let's repeat.
my name is
This is Patricia Lewis. She's also...
Hi guys, my name is Patricia Lewis and I am a former student of Community Action in Bastrop, Texas, and I graduated in 2021 with my GED, which was one of the best accomplishments that I have ever made in my life. Let me start off by saying that I was a high school dropout, and at the age of 40, after I had already started a family and had 3 children, at the time, ages 1, 3, and 15, I decided to make the decision to go back to school so I could be a good example for all 3 of my girls, to show them how important their education was and to show them that anything is possible. So I went back. Like I said, I received my GED in 2021. And after I received my GED, I went back to school with Hartwell University, and I am currently working on my Bachelor's of Science to become a teacher at an elementary school. I am so proud of myself, guys. I recommend Community Action so much. They were such a great help. They were so positive and uplifting and willing to pretty much do anything that they could do to make sure that you got where you needed to be in order to be able to pass your GED test. Glenda, you're amazing. Margarita, Cindy, I love you guys. Y'all are all so awesome. I felt like not only did I have teachers and leaders to lead me to be successful, but I also made friends along the way, which was great too. I would definitely recommend community action to anybody who is seeking to get their GED. They're, like I said, extremely helpful, and they will figure out a way, even if you think it's not possible, to get your GED. Because I will tell you, this is proof. Anything's possible. Yay! Thank you.
Aren't those amazing stories? Okay, now I'm just getting comfortable, so I like to talk. But
Hi,
anyway. So just want to say thank you. We do come for your continued support. We do need the support of the community to support this program. And just know we are doing things to change people's lives. I know other agencies are doing the same things, but we're kind of starting at the bottom and building people up to where they can take those career training classes, where they can take, go on to college, like she was saying, go on to college. We also partner with an agency up in Austin where students can come from our program with their GED and go straight into Austin Community College, and it'll be paid for them. They don't have to pay for it. So we're working on lots of different things, but thank you all for your support. We just want to thank you. It says for your support, and I did write this, but I forgot what I wrote. Anyway, to those we serve by creating positive financial, social, and life changes for people. So thank you. And there was one at the very end. I had put on there at the very end of that. Rick, you want to just click to the last? I think next to the last, yeah, that one there. But you won't be able to see it. It was just telling you how many people we served in 2022 through 23, and the areas we served them in. And I think the last one on there was just some numbers showing how many students had received credentials through the programs. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow, thank you. So you went from serving 7 students in 1920 to 53 students your numbers went up dramatically.
Sylvia, let me ask you, how much are we currently funding them right now?
15,000.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have the Smithville Workforce Training Center.
Okay, good evening. Thank you so much for inviting all of these people here tonight, because it is really beneficial that all of us get a taste of what's really happening just here in Bastrop County. I'm Janice Bruno. I'm the newly appointed Executive Director for the Smithville Workforce Training Center. Just a little bit about the Smithville Workforce Training Center. It was a vision that started back in 2019, 2020. And it was really just to put together like a health trades academy, a skilled trades academy. So there were a group of folks that ended up writing a grant through the Economic Development Administration, and we were 2 of 500 that were selected for this particular grant that not only serves Bastrop County, but serves Fayette, Caldwell, and Lee County. And the goal of this Good Jobs, they call it a Good Jobs Challenge grant, was to engage, empower, and employ. Those weren't the words in the grant. I just said that's what we do. We engage a student or a person out on the street and or somebody that's looking for employment. We empower that individual, and then the whole goal is to employ. We have a goal of 452 right now for this particular grant that we need to employ: skilled trades, healthcare, banking, and information technology. So I'm real excited. I've got 4 county coordinators. Right now I'm down to 3. And I want to introduce Alan Butler, who right now does all of our county coordination for Bastrop. And he's actually going to give you a little bit more specifics I've got a county coordinator right now in Caldwell County and one in Lee and Fayette County. So that's the overall goal, and we're happy to be here tonight. Thank you. Alan?
Thank you. Appreciate the invitation to speak today. I'm Alan Butler with the Bastrop County Coordinator and Skills Trades Director at the Smithville Workforce Training Center. Some of you I probably know up here is probably wondering why the heck this contractor guy is talking to you about workforce training. I used to be on the board. Quick history of the Workforce Training Center. Back in June, there was some key staff transitioning. I was in a position to help, and I believe in this program a lot. I think it's awesome for our community. As Janice mentioned, we're one of 2 areas in the state of Texas that receive this money, and one of 25 around the country. So it's pretty impressive to have this opportunity in our backyard. Janice hit on a few points that I typically do, but basically what do? We serve the Bastrop, Lee, and Fayette County and Caldwell County region, and primarily focus on rural workforce training and development. So what do? I go out on a day-to-day basis and consult with local business owners to understand their employment needs. We develop training programs that are based on what those employers need. And then once we get done with that training, we then help those individuals with job placement with those employers that I've built relationships with or the other county coordinators have. So basically how are we funded? Through the American Rescue Plan Act, the Reinvest Good Jobs Challenge grant was the one that Janice mentioned. It was a $4.8 million grant that none of us expected to get overnight. So here's about $5 million, go train all these people, do all this great stuff, but figure out how to buy your own toilet paper, right? So that's how it works. And then Bastrop County was fortunate enough to receive some of that same money that was appropriated through Congress under the Good Jobs Challenge, was under that Rescue Plan Act. That money was the ARPA money that the Bastrop County was given, and they helped divvy up a little bit of that to us as well. So we got another $250K from them to assist in some of this process to specifically focus on needs in Bastrop County. And those could be within that Good Jobs Challenge grant or areas outside where we could expand to other needs that weren't covered under that grant. We've also been working closely with the Hospital Authority Board, the St. David's Foundation, Rural Whole Health Coalition, City of Smithville. Janice and I collaborated on a Texas Mutual grant with to do OSHA training in our area. As a contractor, I know that most people in our communities don't get that formalized training. Sometimes I have employees 15 years in the industry and they've never taken an official safety course in the area. So we collaborated to get some additional money that can tack on to those skills trades jobs and transportation jobs that we're training for and get them that proper safety training to go throughout their career. And then we're also working with Methodist Healthcare Ministries and other business partners around the community. So the programs we offer, I know it was kind of talked about before, but medical, allied health, skills trades, public safety, finance, and IT are our main sectors that we focus in under that Good Jobs grant that we partner with Workforce Solutions. They're our grant administrator. So on the medical side of things, it kind of is split. We have about 3 different angles that we work through. That Good Jobs Challenge grant, that's that federal grant. We also do a little bit of stuff through ARPA on that as well, that county money. And then we also work with an individual private organization that is helping pump money into training CNAs specifically, and we're working with them. They provide instructors in the classes. They're training, and while they're training, they're employed during that training, and then they're getting job placed with that company afterwards for a period of 6 months, I believe is the contract, correct? So that's gone out real well. That's our most successful program to date. We've graduated over 200 students in that CNA program so far. And we also have LVN and RN programs where we can help subsidize someone that wants to go and further their education. We can pay up to $8,000 to $10,000 out of our money, and there is other funding opportunities through Workforce Solutions and other organizations that we can kind of collaborate and braid funding to help them with further assistance beyond those 2 points as well if they're already enrolled in a program. In the allied health sector, there's a few areas that were identified by the grant that we can train in. There is some crossover, obviously, with what we do in community action and other organizations, so we're a little bit more strategic on what the employer's needs are and really focus on those areas that make sense so we're not oversaturating the market with particular folks. Like phlebotomy was one of those areas where we did a couple classes and found out community action, other folks were doing it, and we don't want to oversaturate that market and try to train and have 50 people out there when we can only job place 25 of them. Skills trades, which is the one that I'm mostly working in the trenches day to day. We're doing everything from CDL, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, welding, working on building out some carpentry courses. I've held some roofing courses in a collaborative effort with GIF, which is the largest shingle manufacturer in the world, as well as doing some manufacturing stuff. I know Workforce Solutions has been working on a ton of things in that sector. Those things should be coming out soon. Public safety is another area of emphasis we put on after working with the county and folks within the region. It's a huge need. So we have done some programs in EMT, paramedic, firefighting, security guard training. We're trying to get that off the ground, as well as helping out with the corrections sections. I know that they're looking for CMAs. They are badly needed over there, as well as corrections officers. Finance is another one where we kind of hybridize. We actually partner with and help out with community action to get the bookkeeping courses. They're already holding them, so we're kind of help funding some of that and working in a collaborative effort there. And then the banking one's been fun. We have another meeting that's actually being held tomorrow morning at 7:30 at the Convention Center across the street with the the Texas Banking Association over there. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more information on how we're going to proceed forward in that specific sector. And going forward, it's a little bit more heavily regulated, so there's a lot more things to weed through. We got money, which is great, but there's some strings attached that we got to figure out. So that's been a challenge for me, learning new things. The internet technology sector, our grant had 11 different disciplines that they were allowed to train in. Basically, it's all the way from entry level, year zero to no experience, all the way to somebody who might be working for a Fortune 500, like your Samsungs of the world, Google, that kind of stuff. So we have the ability to support folks that are 0 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, and then maybe more of a higher 10-plus year level, where we're not only taking folks that are coming off the street, maybe trying to elevate a situation, but this grant is also allowing us to upskill employees within organizations that might already be working and helping elevate them to get into better paying jobs and improve the overall economic health of the area, as well as for those employers. So how can you help or benefit? We are always looking for strategic partners, attending our sectoral meetings. One of the big key components of this grant, with the Good Jobs Challenge grant specifically, is that the sectoral partners meetings. So we've got these meetings that we host in the different areas of skills trades, medical, IT, and finance, and healthcare. And we're working with collaborative efforts of bringing folks in those areas that are industry experts or industry partners, so we can help kind of figure out what their needs are, whether that's through policy making, whether that's through employment issues, training. And we've been hearing a lot about soft skills, but just whatever the issues might be in their particular sector, like in the construction industry or in the healthcare industry. What are their needs? What are their challenges? So we can work through those things and report that information back to the EDA. You can also become a sponsor at our graduation programs, donate funds, equipment, your time, talents, and expertise, or help recruit folks, whether that's sending me somebody that's a business owner that you might think could benefit from our program, or you could send somebody that might be looking to elevate their situation in life. So that's pretty much what I've got as a rundown. And you asked me a couple questions. Sylvia asked a question about ACC and Central Texas Technical College. So we do partner with ACC on some programs. We just recently graduated 12 students out of our HVAC program with them. We've also held a welding class with them in the past, and we do collaborate on other programs. We do have interest in doing other programs. The Texas State Technical College, we've gone up and toured their campus, amazing facility there. I think there's just a little bit of the community college district boundary issues that we need to work through, of how we could bring a program from them here. But as far as some of their manufacturing programs and as well as their welding programs, they're top notch. I would definitely recommend you guys look into those from all the places I've seen so far that I've been to. And we do collaborate with other organizations like Blinn College, and we have a couple of other private institutions we work with as well. Our CDL educational provider is very good and is very successful there as well. So if you have any more questions, let me know.
Yeah, Alan, I do. Got a lot of good pictures here about training and whatnot. Do you do most of your training at whether ACC or TSTC? Where do you do a lot of your training, if you don't mind me asking?
Good question. So facilities are always the challenge for us, right? So we got all this money. We have a little building in Smithville. Jill Struvey here with the city of Smithville was actually able to go after a grant with the Texas Department of Agriculture. So we're building a facility with a $1.1 million grant that we received. Now, a portion of that is for some other things that's earmarked, but I think about $600,000 to $700,000 of that was for the building, correct?
Yeah, I think it's up to 8.6 now.
Okay, so we're working on getting a facility there in Smithville for that, but we do collaborate with memorandums of understanding and partnership agreements with other organizations. So we've got the Show Barn in Smithville. It's where we teach the majority of our skills trades programs right now. And we're collaborating with churches, community college, other organizations. So pretty much anywhere we can find classroom space, I can hold class as long as the location's appropriate for it. And we have the right equipment. So we have actually worked with private business owners as well, and they're opening up their space for us. Some here in Bastrop in the healthcare sector to train CNAs. And some of them are actually willing to help be the instructor as well and get the equipment we need through some of their suppliers, which has been great.
Nice. What is your time frame on getting that facility built out?
Hello, and thank you all. I'm the president also of the board for the Workforce Training Center. So this has been just, as we were dreaming, this was one of the dreams that we were putting together back in the probably before 2019. But anyway, what we're looking at right now is we've got the architectural drawing. We're planning on going to bid within the next 2 or 3 weeks. And once we'll get the bid back, the council will have to approve that. I'm expecting that we'll probably be in the construction mode something like June or so, and then probably about 6 months after that we'll be up and running, is anticipated. Yeah. Probably so, yeah. Thank you.
Do you guys offer training day, evening, night, and weekends?
Great question. So it all depends on the particular program that a student might be enrolled in. They can vary. A lot of our programs can be in the evenings. CNA classes, CDL classes are typically held Monday through Fridays during the day. It just really depends on the particular program.
Alan, I had somebody come to a sit with Sil, and we were talking about training and skill, and as a matter of fact, some folks in the audience here who were at the sit with Sil. There was a question about income levels and income brackets, and do you guys have a requirement?
Good question. So yes, in general with the Good Jobs Challenge grant, there are specific parameters that someone needs to meet that are lined out in the grant. A portion of that grant, 73% of the grant, is required for folks that are of low income, maybe economic disadvantage, maybe have a history of substance abuse, have some history of criminal background history. Those kinds of things are in that grant, but we do have some latitude in certain areas, as well as some other monies that we have to help folks. Or, if someone chooses, they could always pay tuition to take a course with us.
As we were talking, we had a conversation about some of the difficulty with ACC, as in requirements with welding and stuff. So I really want the board to be aware when we talk about Texas State Technical and we talk about ACC, some of the hindrances to entry into some of those programs and what the end result is, i.e. a certificate, a certified program. They're maybe you want to.
So it's really about the objective of, I guess in the EDC, what is it you're trying to go after? There's a lot of grants out there, and sometimes there's things that are requirements that you have to meet. So those are things we can have conversations about. If you're looking to fund something or you might be going after another grant, we can have some conversations about what we've seen work well, what doesn't work. There is a big push, obviously, for industry-recognized credentials or certifications in different areas. And in academia worlds, because I've lived on both sides, I understand both sides of it. Some areas that works very well, and it's going to work in the academic mindset. And a lot of things in skills trades, they don't really particularly work that way. And specifically in Texas, things that are regulated are plumbing, electrical, HVAC at the state level. When you get beyond those points, there's not a whole lot of regulation. So it becomes this gray area that a lot of folks I don't really think have quite have figured out how to tackle exactly. And we know what the employers are looking for and want. Some don't really have so much of an emphasis on those traditional academic style certifications versus just general knowledge and soft skills. And then there's some that, they would prefer to have an associate's degree in something. So it's really about what angle you're trying to work. Does that answer the question?
Question for you.
Yes, sir.
So you talked about your discovery process where you build relationship with employers on what skills they need, and then you train people for those skills, and then they hire them. So do you have any of those relationships with those business enterprises formalized with a written agreement that says that they'll hire your trainees at the prevailing wage?
Great question. So under this Good Jobs Challenge grant, the Reinvest grant, one of the things that we're required to do in the grant process is to go after what's called an employer commitment letter. Mm-hmm. Just the name of it, it's not a legal binding document or anything, but basically what that states is that if we go and talk to them about their needs, if they sign up and say, hey, Bill's Plumbing needs 3 technicians and, John's Plumbing needs 8, then we can go back with that information and say, all right, we've got a need for 15 plumbers in the area. I know that math didn't work out, but 15, I've talked to different folks. We need 15 plumbers, so we can go and train 15 plumbers at that, whether that's at a tradesman level, journeyman level, wherever they need it, apprentice, and we can go and collect that information.
And does that include the prevailing wage requirement?
Correct. So in the grant specifically for the Good Jobs Challenge grant, what we're looking at is a job that pays at least $18 an hour or more in order to get that to qualify.
And do you happen to have any written agreements with businesses to train some of their existing employees to upgrade their skills, but then also upgrade their pay when they complete the training?
Correct, and I did not mention the secondary part. So if we do upskill an employee that's currently employed with an employer, the requirement there is not only are we elevating them, that they have to get a merit increase upon completion of that. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
I don't know if it's Alan or Jill, but it was, because I think I helped you get some of those employee commitment letters. That was a part of the initial grant phase, correct? So that, to demonstrate that there was a need so that that grant would cover it. So just really appreciate all the tremendous amount of work that you put in to get those commitment letters. Really,
Thank you.
lot of hours put into that.
Still working on it. Great. I appreciate your time unless there's any other questions.
Thank you. Well, for the board's information, we don't provide any funding to Smithville Workforce, but we do have an interlocal agreement that says we're going to partner and assist in any way possible. We're going to share and be nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron.
Very good
Appreciate the time.
information. You bet.
Bastrop Workforce Solutions. Clicker works anyway. Which one is it? It's the middle one, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Marino. I'm the Chief Solutions Officer for Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area. We are one of 28 workforce boards that's in the state of Texas, and we support the 9 counties surrounding Travis. So Bastrop is one of our counties. Our office is here in Bastrop off Highway 150, just around by a good Italian restaurant, which I can't remember the name of, but I eat there all the time. And so I just go into, sorry, I'm going to have to work. There's where we work in the 9 counties. I'm actually based in Cedar Park, but we are out local all over the place. So just call us. We'll show up wherever you need us. We're primarily funded by Texas Workforce Commission through the Department of Labor, through the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, which right now is in front of Congress, and we hope they do their job and pass the bill. So they usually do, so that's where we're at right now. But you can see what the counties are. We do support the Good Job Challenge grant. We are the ones that were awarded the grant and gave it out to Smithville Workforce Training Center and also to Workforce Network, Inc. that serves our eastern counties. Here's our primary funding source, is mostly the federal government. And then we also do go after other grants like the Department of Commerce, Department of Ed. We are the trade agency grant winner for the regional conveners, so that is TWC, TEA, and the Higher Education for Educating Boards. So there's a lot of money in different ways, and we actually go after quite a bit to make sure we're not just tied to the Department of Labor. These are not a complete list of all our partners, because of the 9 counties, you can imagine we have quite a range of partners, but we work with anybody that would like to work with us. And if you're supporting childcare, employers, job seekers, anything, we will come help you. About the only thing we don't do is housing. So what I always tell you was, just call us, we'll figure it out. If it's not us, we'll find the partner that can help you with that area. So these partners are very important for us, and when we're working through them. And our biggest customer are employers. That's who we work for, are the Texas employers. There are over 36,000 employers in our 9 counties. And this is some of the work that we do for them. We actually are constantly adding more options available. We do apprenticeships. We will write the apprenticeship grant or the apprenticeship program work with you, work with the Department of Labor to get your apprenticeship approved and help you source candidates for those apprenticeship models and your training providers. We actually have the opportunity to work with 6 community colleges from the state of Texas. None of them are based in our region, so that makes it a little challenging for us to get them to pay attention to us, but we have great working relationships, and we have 2 major universities, Texas State University and Southwestern University, that are also in our region. So we work closely with all of them to build out those training opportunities for all our students. The key for us in training for our employers is to have it local. As we know, people don't want to drive to ACC Highland campus, even as gorgeous as it is and all the awesome stuff it has. They do not want to drive through the Austin traffic to get there. So as Ms. Mill still told us so well, they find the training and put it here locally. So we do that throughout our 9 counties, and we have offices in our counties that you can use to have your meetings or have trainings, or if they're large enough. I know our Bastrop one's a little small, but we do have offices available for y'all to use. There's no cost to use any of our services, and are those offices, if you ever need a meeting, let us know. We'll set you up and you can have a space. And this is a job seeker that we offer, would have for all our job seekers, and it's just it's everything you could possibly think. If you need training, ESL, to GED, to go on to get upskilling, because you want to move to a different field, to help you find those resources. Childcare, if you need assistance with that. We work closely with our veterans. Fort Cavassa is a big partners of ours, because about 1,000 servicemen exit every month out of Fort Cavassa, so that's a lot of potential employees that we can get trained and into our workforce as we're growing in this area rapidly. We are seeing a lot more need people moving here and staying here out of the Fort Cavassa area, which is great because they're great employees. The only thing we don't do is unemployment insurance, so if someone gets laid off, that's not our office. They need to go to TWC directly. We get that call a lot. As you can see, we service ages 6. We have it start age of service at 16 until you want to stop working. We will keep supporting you as long as you want to work. So we are here for you at any time. And then child care services. In the state of Texas, we are, I think, one of 2 states that have put child care services under workforce, because we feel it's very important that you have high quality child care so your people can go to work. And so there are millions upon millions of dollars going into the child care service program. What this does is we have the Texas Rising Star program, and if you've ever been involved with child care, it's a statewide program that sets a standard of what child care should be like. And we support the Texas Rising Star with the tuition to get them up to what they need, help their businesses grow, because child care has a very small margin. So we try to provide as much resources as we can for them, so training for their staff, marketing support, anything they can do to reduce that bottom line. But then on the inside, we'll do tuition assistance for the parents so they can go to work, or if they're trying to get skilled or go to school, we help them with the tuition assistance on that. So those child cares are loaded throughout all our 9 counties. These are just some of the solutions we provide. We are a data-driven program. So what we're doing is we're looking to see what their employers are needing in the area, and based off local knowledge as well, because as we know, Samsung's coming in Eastern Winston County, but yet they've not started hiring at this point. But we need to start building that talent pipeline right now. So that's what we're doing, is building those talent pipelines in for the companies that we know are coming. There's massive growth, obviously, here in Bastrop. Every time I drive down 71, there's a new building going up, and I don't know what it is. So we're trying to figure out what we can do to help build that pipeline. We have great partnerships with Bastrop ISD and Smithville ISD and all the ISDs around here to make sure we can tell them what's happening, what's coming, so they can prepare their students, and then we do that secondary training and state certifications, or if they need to go on to associates or bachelor's, whatever that is. So it's all employer-led of whatever we need. We're listening to our employers. We're constantly out meeting with them. And then we develop strategic pathways to make sure that happens. One of the things we do talk about is our regional convener grant, which I mentioned earlier. What we're doing there is building pathway systems from the ISD level all the way through secondary into higher ed to build those career pathways where people can get on and off as they choose. So if they start and they got their cert right out of high school, they went to work, but then they decide they wanted to go into the associate degree, we help them get to that next level, or their bachelor's. Or if they want to upskill to a different field, we'll jump them over to a different area. So we're building a database right now, and we're working on that. We should roll that out in 2025. We're very excited that way businesses can see what's out there, and as job seekers can see, as well as students, of what kind of careers they might want to be going into. And this is us. You can scan us. You can find us on the web. We're all over the place. That's our little mascot, RC. He comes out to Bastrop sometimes to the school things. So we're here for you all. That's what we do. We're here to serve the public and help people find the jobs they need.
Great, thank you. A question.
Sure.
If I understand, you guys were mainly responsible for helping with the Smithville workforce, getting the grant? Is that?
Yeah, we wrote the grant.
Okay, y'all wrote the grant. Are you working with any of the other entities that are here as far as helping them get grants or doing any help in getting them funding or anything like that? Or is it just the one?
I know we do work with other partners with us depending on the grant. They'll become partners at that, depending on what the grant is. We also sign lots of letters of intent to support. I know Community Action, they sit on our board. Doug Mudd is on our board. He's awesome. And so we are very active with Community Action. Also, obviously, ACC, TSTC, Glenn, Central Texas College, all the universities and colleges, we sit with them. But all the partners are someone we would be willing to partner with. If they need our help, we will help them do it.
Okay, thank you.
Do you need?
Sure, leave it up there. So I had a question on, so I was on your site, very data-driven. Everybody, I'm super, super impressed. And the one thing that we have been struggling with, because nobody seems to be able to get a snapshot in time, we actually paid a group to come in and do that. And, you know, I think we've had the same success, which is none. Where are you getting some of the statistics about understanding the labor market and what the employers are seeking? Is that specific visits? Where is that coming from?
We use JobsEQ.
That's
And then we also have our local knowledge. We are out, we have 10 business consultants that are spread out across the area, plus my staff has 6. And so we're out just visiting and constantly just repeating back to us so we can roll it up and put that local knowledge in.
If we needed something in particular, can we reach out to you
Of course.
and have it run? Okay.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
I think for the EDC, as we were looking to make that bridge from what type of jobs are people looking for and what sort of on the periphery, so that we can focus on maybe those are the kinds of businesses we want to incent, maybe those are the kinds of businesses we want to attract. We've not been able to get that good of granular data, and so JobsEQ has one piece. I don't know if maybe the Department of
We do.
Commerce.
We have access, and we set a lot of prospect meetings for companies coming in to view your area. We're usually, as companies come in, they're always looking for workforce. That seems to be the number one. And how are you working with your education system? And we have proven concepts. So we spend a lot of time at prospect meetings. And what we can do is when we find out what's going on, at least as much as we can learn, because I know a lot of it's NDA, is we'll go dive down granular as much as we can to get you that data.
Thank you.
So I had a quick question. What would your ask be? What's the thing that you need that would help you be more successful?
You could just let us know, invite us to the meetings. That would be the...
So it's really bridging that communication
Yes.
gap and
Yes.
exposing people and making sure people know that you're there. And
Right. And if there's somewhere we're missing, let us know, because we need to know. There's so much going on social media and things like that. We try to stay on top of it, but of course the ball gets dropped occasionally. So if you'd hear, just ping us and we'll take care of it.
I would just like to memorialize the ask is not money. So certainly, and although I understand that sometimes some of that marketing may take some money, but that's really not what we're trying to get you people into the system.
Yeah, we don't need money, so we're good.
Wow.
Wanted to get that in writing. Make sure
And with that, and with that, Bastrop ISD is next. Wow, we need money. I need money.
I've never turned it down.
Me either.
I'll tell you that. Good afternoon. My name is Amanda Brantley. I'm the Director of College, Career, and Military Readiness for Bastrop ISD. So our first slide says Career and Technical Education. That's primarily what I'm going to speak to you about this evening, as well as some of our other college programs. You may or may not know this, but February is National CTE Month, so happy CTE Month. I'm really excited to be here and share that with you guys today. And, oh. Nope, I've got it. I'm pushing the wrong button. All right, so we strive to have an education to workforce pipeline within our CCMR department, and that starts with our very youngest of learners. So we have elementary career days. Each of our campuses, we have 8 elementary campuses currently. In a couple of years, we'll have 10 elementary campuses, which is a testament to the growth of Bastrop and the students that we serve. But each of those sites has a career day for their students. We have in the past been able to bring over our second graders to the convention center and do kind of a larger activity with them. But it's just gotten so big that we've got to break it down into individual campuses. The next thing there are field trips and site visits. We want to make sure that our kids, pre-K through 12, know what workforce options are out there for them once they leave Bastrop ISD. So I'll just give you 2 examples. This past Thursday, we took 60 middle school girls to Tesla for Introduce a Girl to Engineering Day. And in that, they got to do really cool activities, really cool hands-on STEM. They got to do some factory tours, and they got to listen to a panel of all-female engineers, which was super neat. So that's one of the examples of what we do. This upcoming week, this Wednesday, we'll actually take a group of juniors and seniors from both Bastrop and Cedar Creek High Schools to the Craftsman Center in Taylor. It's currently a plumbing apprenticeship program, but they're looking to add electrical and HVAC as well. So all the way from our middle school girls up to our high school students, making sure that they know what options are out there for them next. We do have a middle school college and career exploration course. Currently, it is 1 semester long, and it's situated at the 7th grade level. Next year, it will be a full year, and it will be at 8th grade. So it's really going to help prime those kids for what they might want to do as they step into high school. So they'll have a deep dive into each of the programs or pathways of career and tech ed that is offered at their feeder high school, as well as the crosstown high school should they want the option to transfer for a program. We do have a multitude of high school programs of study, which I think is on my next slide, so I'm going to hold that. And then we have fully staffed college and career centers at our high schools. This is where kids go to learn about workforce that's looking to hire immediately. It's community college programs. It is university programs. It's what classes or what tests do I need to take to qualify for the different things I may want to do as an adult. And then one of the things that we're really proud of is our hiring day. This is in partnership with the Chamber, with Workforce Solutions, with the EDC. We've had a lot of success. This will be our 10th year to run this Youth Career Day this year. And in that, we actually have our juniors and our seniors come out. We have businesses that are looking to actually interview our kids and hire them for seasonal, for part-time, or for full-time employment for those students that are graduating. And it's a really an excellent event. I think March 27th is our date this year, and would encourage any of you to come out and see that. But it's a really cool event where kids get hands-on skills of like, hey, here's how to do your resume, here's how to do an interview. Come over here and actually interview with this company that's looking to hire. So it's something we're very proud of. So what is CTE? CTE prepares youth and young adults for a wide range of in-demand, high-skill occupations. These are actually some of our BISD students that you see here on the screen. We've got our architecture and construction program, our health science program, our robotics down at the bottom, welding there in the middle, and then I believe it's robotics and engineering there to the left with that CAD modeling that you're seeing. These are the programs of study that we offer in Bastrop ISD. It looks like something got a little messed up on my slide, but it says Applied Ag Engineering, which is welding, and then underneath that is cybersecurity, if you're unable to read that slide. But this is what we offer to our kids. We try to find an area of interest. We want all of our students to participate in CTE. There's room for kids that are in intervention courses, as well as kids that are in advanced placement courses. There is room for students that are in band and athletics and everything in between. So we want our kids to know that when they leave us, that's not the last step. There's something else that they're going to need to do, even though we try to prepare them before they go. And again, you'll see those are some of our actual students there in our auto tech program and our business program. So nested within our programs of study are industry-based certifications. A couple of years ago, the Texas Education Agency, along with the tri-agency partners that Kelly mentioned a moment ago, Cord Board and Texas Workforce Commission, came together and said, here's the list of industry-based certifications that are vetted by industry. This is what employers have said they are looking for. The criteria to make it onto the IBC list was it had to be achievable by a high school student, but it also still had to be industry recognized and a credential that would carry them into the workforce. So we offer several of those across our programs of study in Bastrop ISD. And I'll just go quickly through these because I think there's 4 or 5 slides. There is not necessarily an IBC for every program of study, but we try to get one nested wherever possible. Our goal in offering an IBC is what's actually useful for our students. So just because there is an IBC, if we know it's something that's not locally recognized, it's not something we're going to push. But you'll see through animal science, we offer the veterinary assistant program. Through welding, we have the American Welding Society D11 and D91. Wildlife management, there is a conservation certificate that they can earn, food safety and science through our other ag program at BHS. Adobe, ASC for auto mechanics, some business management. Educational aid is a really neat one. We're trying to build a grow your own program where we're going to help our kids become educators and stay with us so they can become an educational aid before they leave high school. They can go on to ACC, which now has a bachelor's in teaching, and come back to Bastrop ISD and work for us. There's some law enforcement, some cybersecurity, and then health science and manufacturing as well, which I'll talk a little more in depth about when I get to our P-TECH programs. So work-based learning is another big component of both career and technical education and college, career, and military readiness. These are a few of our flagship programs that we currently have in place. We've got mentorships for our 11th and 12th graders. Some of these are run in person, some of them are virtual, but they are career focused. So we are matching a student with someone that is in the industry that they're interested in being in. And we have a 6-week program and curriculum that they actually run through. So there are talking points for the mentor to say like, hey, this is what a day in my life looks like. What interests you? Okay, this is the training that you would need to do my job. What do you think it would take to get you there? And they can kind of coach them through those pieces. Our internships we've been able to run for 3 summers. We're looking forward to doing that again, pending grants. So we do get a grant from Texas Education Agency that we've been able to run that through. So our students are participating in paid internships. Up to 80 hours over the summer is what we've been able to fund at $16 to $17 an hour. So it's comparable to what a student would be making out if they were at Chick-fil-A or wherever that may be, but for a longer period of time. So we don't want to ever have a barrier for a student, and if we can remove that financial barrier, then they may be more inclined to take an internship that aligns to their eventual outcomes than they would just a job. Mr. Butler actually has had several of our interns, and they have hired them on after they completed the internship program, so it's something that we think is going really well. We've been able to partner with Workforce Solutions on teacher externships I'm sorry, do I need to wrap it up? Yeah, so we partnered with Workforce Solutions on our teacher externship program. It was really neat. We had, Steve, 15 teachers last summer?
We had 15 interests, but we ended up placing 9.
Okay, so we placed 9 teachers. They did a full week within a business here in Bastrop or local to Bastrop. Some examples, we had our engineering teacher at Accutronic. We had our business teacher at Roscoe State Bank. And they actually walked a week in these other folks' shoes. And at the end of that, they created a lesson plan that they brought back to their students to say like, hey, this is the industry experience I gained this summer, and this is how I'm going to help lead that to you. So that was really great. And Workforce Solutions and Bastrop Chamber helped make that possible. We also run clinical rotations for our health science students. They shadow in all the different departments across St. David's and Ascension. And then we have 2 different courses. One is practicum, and it could be practicum in any of the career clusters. So practicum in ag, practicum in construction, practicum in health science, or we have career preparation. In both of those courses, our students have the opportunity to participate in either a paid or an unpaid placement or internship, but it's nested within the school day. So rather than being the 80-hour summer experience they would get with the internship, it's throughout the course of the school year, and they could actually do that their junior and their senior year. And that gives them some really great hands-on opportunities. I keep turning around to Steve. So Dr. Steve Hinn is our work-based learning coordinator, and he does a great job of linking businesses with our teachers and with our students to make sure they get a placement that is high quality and actually has them learning things, not just sweeping floors and filing papers. All right, so dual credit is where we partner heavily with Austin Community College. Of all of the high school programs that ACC runs, we're part of each one. So we do have a career academy, which is our automotive technology, and they earn a level 1 certificate, which is a portion of an associate's degree. We have 2 of our 3 auto tech teachers are currently credentialed as adjunct for ACC. We anticipate that our 3rd will become adjunct as well. He's just a newer instructor, so we've had him 1 year. We actually stole him from Transportation Services in Hutto ISD. So he was their fleet manager and came over to teach for us. Through PTech, which is Pathways in Technology Early College High School, we have 2 different programs. At Cedar Creek High School, we have Advanced Manufacturing, and at Bastrop High School, we have Pharmacology. They will leave either of those programs with a level 1 certificate as well as an industry-based certification. So at Cedar Creek, it's going to be Advanced Manufacturing as well as the Certified Production Technologist. At Bastrop High School, it's going to be level 1 Pharmacology and a Pharmacy Technician. So that's what they're leaving us with. That is kind of where we have the most ramp up and the most work ahead of us. We're really excited about these programs. We had large grants from the Texas Education Agency over the past 3 years to plan and start to implement these programs. As we look forward, we've got, next year we'll have freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. The following year we'll have freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. In between their junior and senior year, we're looking to place those students in a really meaningful internship that goes even a step beyond what we already have in place. So we want them partnered with someone that they could potentially work for once they graduate. So somebody that is looking to hire and looking to ramp up working with our students. Our ECHS is our early college high school, and that is the Colorado River Collegiate Academy. We offer an associate's degree in each of these areas, and we have students that are very successful there. We also offer dual credit from Austin Community College at both Bastrop High School and Cedar Creek High School. We have a number of courses in English and history that are available to our students, which are situated within the school day. They can also participate in dual credit outside of the school day or college credit outside of the school day and work toward an associate's if that interests them. On-Ramps is a newer program to Bastrop ISD, and that's actually run through the University of Texas at Austin. Those students currently have a statistics course that's going really well on both campuses, so we're going to expand that out and have dual credit through On-Ramps in both math and science next year. So we're very excited about that program. And the students that are in our PTech and Career Academy programs, they're able to take any of the dual credit courses as well. So while they're guaranteed the opportunity to leave with the level 1, they could leave with even more credit than that. And that's all I've got. You guys have any questions for me?
I've got a question here. Sure. So, because you're starting with them in school and then all the way up through your junior and senior year, how do you interface with, let's say, the Smithville workforce? Because would take it to, and maybe I'm saying it wrong, but wouldn't that take it to the next level?
It would.
They'd get the actual hands-on type? Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you interface with, whether it's the Workforce Solutions or even the Community Action, which would be, a little bit smaller, if you will?
I want to say it was 2 or 3 years ago we had our very first meeting. So we have been working toward that piece. Like I mentioned, PTech is kind of where we have the biggest area for need right now, specifically with pharmacy. We don't have a location for a lab for that course, and we will need that lab beginning in fall of '25. Otherwise, we'll have to bus our kids to Eastview. It's not the end of the world. We can make it happen. But if we had it more local, then that would be fantastic. So that's where... Oh, you do? Great. It's probably on my calendar, too. But that's where we started the conversation, was what can we do to partner? Can we bring kids over? Can we funnel kids that have graduated toward your programs? Like I said, some of our kids will get the pharmacy tech, but y'all are also offering phlebotomy and dental. So there are some programs that we're not able to offer that Smithville is.
And also, just want to say that we worked with the ISD when Norma was there and
Yes,
through,
ma'am.
Natalie was there now. And so when kids are dropping out or falling through the cracks, they send those kids or contact us for us to be able to work with those youth. So we do partner with them.
Yeah. Yeah, we try to touch base with every entity that's in this room.
And a lot of our classes are held there at Genesis as well.
I just wanted to say how impressed and overwhelmed I am. I graduated from BISD and all they had was like automotive and welding and girls weren't allowed. So I kind of want to go back now.
So same.
That was a long time ago.
I'm a Bastrop native, and I think that is what drives my passion for these programs, is knowing what was in place when I was in school
Yeah.
and what I want in place for my children.
Yeah, it's excellent job. Wonderful to hear.
Thank you. All right, thank you all.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the Bastrop Chamber, who will then be hopefully affect the businesses who would take these future employees on.
Clicker works great. Good afternoon, or good evening, I should say now. Okay. Should I say next, Rick? Okay.
You can go on, I will send this to Rick.
Do you want me to dance?
Actually, while we wait, Charlie, I have a question for you. You may be able to elaborate on this better than I can. Let me turn off my fan. So my understanding has always been that we are in ACC service territory. The state legislature takes a lot of the cities in the state of Texas and separates them and puts them in certain territories. We're not in Blinn or anybody else that you might want to be here where you are in ACC's territory. In 2010, the vote did not pass, and to my knowledge, they haven't come back and asked again. So to me, it's miraculous that all of you guys have been able to partner with ACC without the tax passing in this area. That's awesome. But without them passing the tax, we can't get a facility. Is that right? And also, my understanding is that TSTC is the only college that is allowed into another service territory.
I have no idea.
You don't know about that? Okay.
Yeah, I apologize, but I
That's
don't know
okay.
this off the top of my head. I have no idea.
Well, you can email the board later.
For you, but I do not know it off the top of my head.
We're kind of stuck because my understanding, and Becky, you know, jump in if you know. I think you and I have been through this together since we started the Youth Career Day 10 years ago, right? And with everybody else in this room. And kudos to BISD, they have come a long way. But we did some investigating into that situation at the time and realized that we're kind of stuck without an act of the legislature. You know, you have to dance with the one that brung you, kind of thing, and that's ACC. And I just wanted to clarify
Again,
that
you're
for the
looking
board.
at me, I have no idea.
Okay. That was what I was told, but it's been about 10 years. I don't think it's
A little bit longer
changed.
than that now.
Yeah, I don't think it's changed, but just, I wanted you guys
There's
to all be
been
aware of it.
legislation introduced to try to help with it, because the
That's
rest of the
awesome.
story, and you guys correct me, is if you have a need for a course, ACC kind of has my words, not the tech, first right of refusal. And so if they don't provide the class, then that allows I love it when all the smart people are going, yep, that's right. And so if it's a first right of refusal, if they don't provide the class, then you can provide the class. And TSTC, I know Representative Gertis was at one point, and they just didn't get it all the way across the line, but they were trying to make it easier for that to happen, because part of the first right of refusal is you have to formally make the request, and then they have, my opinion, not putting words in your mouth, way too long of a time to provide that class. And so Sylvia's already mentioned how often the data changes and it's hard to get the correct data. So if you're then waiting 6 months, a year before you can offer the class, what you needed to offer has changed. And I think that's the fundamentals of the situation. Is that correct? So it's not so much that you can't. And the other thing is, without the tax passing, one of the things that we get a lot is it doesn't mean you can't go take class at ACC. It means you pay a higher tuition. So they're more than happy to collect a higher tuition, which is why it's so fabulous for BISD to provide that option to students where they're not having to pay the out of territory or out, whatever they call it, the higher fee for the class.
The students don't pay for those classes at all, do they? BISD?
No, that's what
Okay.
I'm saying. So
Okay.
if you do it as an individual and you have a Bastrop address and your community's not paying that tax, then it's kind of like paying out-of-state tuition.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean you can't take the class. It means your community's not paying, so you as an individual pay a higher rate to take a class.
Speaking from somebody that's been here a while, I think all you guys deserve a huge round of applause for doing what you did with this, with the challenges that you've had. So thank you all.
Loading that up, and Becky, you can start. Part of again how we've been tying it all together is trying to find out, okay, what are those trends, right? We know we have an aging population. We know we don't have students returning. We know we have a dire need for employers in specific sectors. The businesses that are coming to the chamber demanding, not demanding, but asking for help. I need employees. Everybody sees the now hiring signs. What can we do as a community to bridge those gaps? And some of those not hiring signs are not going to be the living wages that we decide we are going to incentivize when we go into executive session. But I'd like to hear from the chamber what the businesses are asking for.
So I'm Becky Womble, proud president and CEO of the Bastrop Chamber of Commerce, now a 4-star accredited chamber by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. It's something that we've been striving for almost 9 years, but really heavily the last 2 years. So for our first time out of the box to get 4-star accreditation, we're very proud of that. So this is our mission statement, and I just want to say kudos to everybody in this room for the collaboration, because that's part of our mission statement. That's what makes Bastrop a great place to live, play, and work, is because we have something here that nobody else has, honestly. So as far as the chamber, this is an example of some of the continuing education things that we do and trainings that we offer. We kind of pick what we do each year or annually based on our membership survey. Some of these are things that we've done in the past. Some of them are things that we do annually. Some of them are things that are in the planning phases for this year. But it's based on what the needs of our membership and our business community. So these are just some examples of that. And then, oops, there's a slide missing. Anyway, so one thing that we did this last year was we established the Chamber Foundation of Bastrop County. And it was something that was a part of our strategic plan. We discovered in 2020 that there were a lot of grant opportunities that we missed out on because we did not have a 501c3. If you did not know, the Chamber is a 6. We're an advocacy group. And so we established the Chamber Foundation of Bastrop County. Our board voted to do 2 things, and that was to move our Lemonade Day into the foundation as well as our Best Leadership Program. And so if you don't know what Lemonade Day is, it's an entrepreneurial program for children. And so we actually, I should say thank you to the BEDC. In 2019, you guys partnered with us and paid for the license in 2019. You paid for it again in 2023, so you guys are a Lemon Drop sponsor of Lemonade Day. And so what we did initially was got the license for the 78602 and 78612. And we have plans next year to expand to Elgin and Smithville. Elgin's already on board. We have not visited with Smithville yet, but Elgin was at our luncheon this last month where we had the Entrepreneur of the Year. And so why this program is so important is that any of you that were at the Best Leadership Breakfast last Friday, you got to find kids in elementary age to really know what they want to do. And they were using the example of rural doctors coming back and practicing in rural communities. And they said you have to get them in 3rd grade. And then it's 17 years before you actually have a doctor coming back to a rural community. So that's the beauty of the Lemonade Day, is it sparks that initiative to start your own business. And so we need more people starting their own business, but it teaches kids to save, share, and spend. They have to do a marketing plan, they have to do a business plan, they have to do a pitch contest, and so we're extremely excited that Lemonade Day is coming up May 4th this year. We're hoping to have lemonade stands all over the city of Bastrop. We have Chick-fil-A as our title sponsor, and I don't think that it's a God thing that Chick-fil-A is going to be closed for 2 weeks of renovation between April 30th and May 16th. So they have 112 employees that will be helping these children with their Lemonade Day stands. And what better type employee than an employee from Chick-fil-A to help our students. So extremely excited about this initiative. And so we really appreciate y'all's sponsorship of Lemonade Day. I've got several slides missing. I'm not sure what happened here. Anyways.
We focused it just on the workforce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then also the Best Leadership Program is a training opportunity. BDC has always been very good about offering a scholarship for that so that we can give that to one business that might be struggling to send a individual through the Best Leadership Program. It's been around since 2004. It's 8 sessions over 9 months, and it teaches people how to come back and serve in our community. So that's all I have.
Do you have businesses that are asking for specific type of trades, skills, employees?
Well, typically what we do is when we get those kind of requests, we plug them in with Workforce Solutions, Smithville, Workforce. So it's just, that's not something that we usually plug them in with one of our community partners. And to go back to the Bastrop Youth Career Day, that's been going on for 10 years. The externships, that was something we applied for through Workforce Solutions. Like you said, we had 9 teachers that went through it through BISD. We had another 4 through Smithville ISD, and we requested 30 for next year. And that was an amazing program in partnership with BISD.
Becky, I think that one of the times you and I talked, and I want to say Drew was still here, childcare is one of the number one things that you guys are getting asked about. Mm-hmm. And it's something I don't believe the EDC can incentivize or even, try to attract.
Again, we work with
but you do work
Workforce
with
Solutions.
Workforce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it is probably like one of the number one challenges that businesses have today because of the slim margins there are with childcare. And we're trying to encourage our business community to be more flexible, offer, shift work, let people come in earlier and stuff like that. You can't just do the normal, this job is 8 to 5. You've got to do some give and take so those employees can have children taken care of. And it was shared at the Workforce Solutions orientation this last year, talking about the number of hours it takes for somebody when their child is sick and then the parent is called, and the amount of time it takes them to get from their job to pick up their child because they're worried about losing their job. So childcare is a huge issue, something we hear about often. Anything else?
Okay, thank you. So this concludes our presentations on workforce and workforce development and what's in the area. And we're going to hopefully break for a little bit as we go into the budget discussion. And there's a lot to think about from a board perspective on who, what, when, and how, and what is the best available use of resources. As we move further down the continuum, just continuing to keep all of the partners included in our conversations, because we can try to attract all the businesses we want here. If they don't have any employees or skilled trades to be able to go to work, we're all sort of spinning in sand. So thank you, everybody who came. I sincerely appreciate that.
Yeah, I also want to join in on that. I want to thank you guys. Everybody here has done a fantastic job, and it's really nice to know from somebody that lives in the area here, like all of us do, that we have these types of resources for starting in the school age and then working up to the folks that have just gone out of school, folks that are looking for new businesses and whatnot. We all have a lot of expansion going on around here. We've got all kinds of homes coming in, which lots of kids coming in. there's going to be a lot of opportunity, and we need this kind of workforce development and people development to get the skills needed for the companies that we're trying to bring in and whatnot. So I applaud all of you, and I just want to thank you all for coming and sharing what you're doing with us. We obviously have a lot going on here with all of y'all that are represented here today. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and call a recess now for 5 minutes, and we'll reconvene then. Okay, it is now 5:59, February 26th. We're back in session here, and I want to go ahead and move a few things around here. I want to go ahead and instead of go to 3B, I want to go ahead and go into 4B. We don't need to have the folks here staying here listening to our budget stuff here. So I'd like to go ahead and let's talk about the Mocha Venture Agreement. And Sylvia, if you'll start us up on that, I appreciate it.
Good evening, Board. As you're aware, we had entered into an agreement with Mocha Ventures for the construction of what was to be an office campus complex that, depending on which newspaper article you read, may have been 5, may have been 700 employees. We're into what we now count 3 extensions and/or amendments for a variety of reasons. Currently, Mocha is in their drainage review stage with city staff. It is moving at a snail's pace. They were on site this weekend doing some geotechnical testing to move advance just a little bit more. We do have the Bosch, Riley, and John here who are Mocha Ventures. The agreement was with Mocha Financial. This is the original owner/developer. Mocha Financial would have been a tenant on the site. The contract provision calls for a 50% reimbursement of the road costs that have been constructed. We will be getting ready to pave Financial Way come next week. So the road is more than 75% complete, which means the contract provision calls for a repayment of $500,000, up to $500,000 toward construction of the road. Should the board not decide to grant an extension, there is a provision that the land reverts back to BEDC as well. So the Bosches are here to speak on their own behalf, and the board should consider tonight 2 possible actions: allow the extension and/or void the agreement.
All right, if you'd like to come up and let us hear.
My name is John Bosch. This is my son, Riley Bosch. We are representing Mocha Ventures, Nebraska. We are not Mocha Financial. That's different. That would be our tenant. So we are the company that is building the facility. So I want to clarify the 2 different entities. So we're not Mocha Financial. I'm on the board of Mocha Financial, but I don't work for Mocha Financial or anything. We're not connected in that capacity. So.
Yes. Thank you for having us tonight. We have added on to the amendments and extended our agreement over time. I can't go too far into it because that would be Mocha's side of it, but Mocha has had different changes in their business model and business action plan that has changed some of the building style of what they have anticipated. It was initially 50 to 700 employees. Phase 1 will be 50 people. It can accommodate that, and Phase 2 would accommodate 700 jobs. We can't tell you exactly how many jobs there are going to be involved in that because that would be a Mocha Financial question, but we can tell you how much that the building is going to accommodate. So, go ahead.
Well, one thing that I can say to you is that Mocha Financial has adjusted their plan. They have gone more towards military contract and fintechs, which is a definite change. It's a total different direction from community banks. So there has been a lot of change on that, and the government doesn't move quickly. So as we've gone through this, I know Mocha Financial has done a lot of it was a build to suit on our side. So they have had the ability to work a lot on the side of putting that part together. And it has gone slow, and we apologize for that. And Riley and I have, we want to be involved. We want to be more involved in the building of it at this point, because that's what we do. We move things forward. So it's important to us to get this extension, to make this go, because I can't talk a lot about Mocha Financial because, again, I'm not an employee of that, but with what they have going on, I think you are going to be happy to have them in Bastrop. I think that ultimately they will be something that you could be proud of, as well as this is moving slowly, we are trying to keep the integrity of this piece of ground. It's a beautiful piece of ground. It's a special piece of ground. And there's a lot of issues with this piece of ground. There's trees, there's slopes, there's everything that you can imagine, and we want to keep that. That's why we bought the piece of ground, is because of the weight, the appearance that it has, and what it could ultimately turn into. So I apologize that this has gone slower than we would want, but we're trying to make it turn out to be good, very good.
And today we asked for an extension on that, and we're extending the time frame out to accommodate the time frame. We don't want to keep asking for extensions. We want this to be the final one, and us to build the property up and bring Mocha a really nice place to work.
Just because we would want to extend the agreement out doesn't mean that we can't get this going quicker. I want to clear that up too. It's not like we're trying to kick the can down the road. It's taken time. And even as we ask for an extension of a longer period of time, if we can get it ready to build quicker, we will.
I guess my first question,
Sure.
Has it been a situation where you have been out of communication with Mocha Finances? In other words, you own the property.
Right.
You're the one that's going to build this building. Several of us have construction backgrounds,
Sure.
okay? If it's your tenant and you're the one responsible for building, why haven't you started? I mean, all we've heard, just to be, and I'm a little bit direct, so
Sure.
please don't take
Sure.
offense, but we've already given you 2 extensions, if not more than that, number one. Number two, you're the one doing the building. Why is it that the tenant is driving you to this? Are you not in communication with them where you need to be? Are they the ones that are changing it and going, well, we didn't know, which I find a little hard to believe,
Right.
but I would just like to hear from you. What is the real issue, why you haven't started and gotten much further down the line?
Well, there was a lot of trust put in the leadership of Mocha, which that has changed a little bit. And as the leadership of Mocha had a direction, the board of Mocha had a different direction. So there has been a communication issue. I will say that. The leadership of Mocha was a very powerful type leadership that didn't really keep us involved with as much as we should have been involved with. That's our opinion. I'm not here to put blame on anybody. I'm here to say, hey, we do need to be driving this project.
Okay.
We put a lot of trust into that situation.
Go ahead, please.
So you guys are the Mocha Ventures
Correct.
LLC? Because
Correct.
we're talking about Mocha Financial, but the reality
Right.
is we don't have an agreement with them.
No, you don't.
Right.
And they're two totally different companies.
Which also kind of makes sense why the employees weren't included in the performance agreement. They were
Right.
included in the overall discussion.
Right.
Because there was, I remember attending special called meetings because there was a big push to get the property purchased and, really tried to cooperate as much as we possibly could.
You've been
And my
great.
memory is also, the last time that the extension was asked for, you asked for, I think at one point it was even 3 months. And I know a 6 months, and
I
we
know.
said, we don't need to be meeting on this every month. And so we
Right.
gave you a 6 month, and then we gave you a 12 month. And I remember specifically asking if there were any other dates that needed to change. It may have come from the advice of our attorney, but the certificate of occupancy date was 2027 when the original agreement was 21. And the extensions that were being granted was the start of construction.
Right.
And it was supposed to be, my recollection, because there's lots of documents, was 1 year from when we signed the agreement, construction was going to start. And so then it was like, well, construction's still not going to start, but we don't need to move the certificate of occupancy date because it's still 2027.
Right.
And it was meant to be a date that would be so far out there, it was not intended to be a burden at all.
And I
Are you in agreement with where we are?
I am totally in agreement with where you are, and I apologize for that. And unfortunately, we were not involved in as much as we should have been, and in the know as much as we should have been.
So are you asking for only an extension of the construction start, or are you also saying that you now can't make the 2027?
We would ask for the construction start. In the packet that we gave to you guys, those were just, that's just a starting point for us. With that piece of property, when we went into those negotiations, we were very aggressive up front, and that has led to us asking for more and more time.
Right.
And so, like I said earlier, we just want to get that behind us. We just want to do this and complete it.
Because the phase 1, phase 2, that wasn't a part of the original agreement either. It was one building. So, and the extension or the request that we have before us, it's over here, is like 10, what's the square foot, 12,000 to 13,000 square feet. If you guys are asking for an extension and you don't know the square footage of the building, that makes me nervous. I'm not trying to be rude, but it sounds like you don't really know what you're building yet.
Right. So we are going to go ahead with that phase 1 right off the bat. And that's what we're proposing because Mocha is having a change of their clientele.
So do you know what building you're starting to build?
We're going to be starting with the phase 1, the administration building and the government building.
So is it 12,000 or 13,000 or another number? Square feet?
13,000.
13,000 square feet. And then from a board standpoint, because not all of us were here in 21 when this all started, as Sylvia's pointing out, we kind of held up our end.
Yeah.
We've expended funds for design, we've expended funds to build the road, and so there's an obligation. And things change.
Right.
Not only have things changed for y'all, but things have changed for BEDC as well. And our budget's gone from, in round numbers, and I know it's based on sales tax projections, but basically we've gone from 4 million to 1 million. And this obligation at 900,000 is a year's budget. For property, and part of why we agreed to do that was turning dirt and getting people excited about being out in the industrial park. And when our staff is driving people around, if something's under construction and we're rocking and rolling, it's like fresh paint on a house, right? It makes it, and now it's like, and granted, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, you've certainly paid $900,000 for a piece of property, but it's also public record that that property's now worth $1.3 million. So it's been a good investment. They're not, you know, my daddy used to say they're not making any more land, you know, and Bastrop's rocking and rolling.
Right, and a lot of our progress hasn't been shown in physical.
I understand.
We've had to work through the Houston toad. That has its own beast in its own, an endangered species.
But the toad didn't move in after you bought the land.
Right, right.
And the trees were there.
Right.
And the topography was there.
And like I said, we were very aggressive with it up front.
Okay.
With the insight of that up front, it would have been, you know, a more realistic timeline. And so we're willing to negotiate on this with you guys. This was just something that we threw together that we thought that this was a good starting point, but we would love to negotiate with you. At the end of this, we want this project to work out. We want to see Mocha Financial in Bastrop.
What exactly time frame are you asking? I haven't seen that, and I'm sure it's in here, but just what is it specifically? How many months are you requesting for an extension?
12 to 18 months is what we've got. That's where we're at right now. Go ahead.
And that's for construction start?
Yes.
Do you mind if I ask, at what part of the phase are you? I mean, have you gotten through the engineering and into permitting? And I'm just curious what phase where you're at in the.
We've got our drainage plan turned in, and that's getting worked through. And we are working on our site plan right now. We're working on the complete site plan, phase 1 and phase 2. So that is taking some extra time to get the whole property put together on our site plan.
What if any step, like what is the action plan? I kind of feel like you're saying we really want to get it done, and I'm sure that you do, but then a year from now or 6 months from now, I don't hear any clear, concrete plan to make sure that you are going to get it done within that time frame and not come back. So is there an action plan, or can we ask that they give us an action plan, city manager? What can we do to make sure, because you're saying you really weren't involved in the conversations or engaged as you should have been, so what can we do to make sure that happens if we do agree to this extension?
So it's a little bit difficult to nail down specific timelines. I mean, we could give them milestones and say by summer you need to have your final drainage plan complete. That truly depends on the quality of the engineering that is submitted, right? Because then if it becomes a revolving door and it's, you know, designed by review where they're correcting and correcting and correcting based on our errors, things are going to take a long time. We talked trees. I've been here 16 months. We must have talked trees 14 months ago. And they are now in the geotechnical piece. They did the tree survey, and then we kind of went quiet for a little while. They have submitted their drainage plan. We're working through that. But in the development sequence, it goes drainage, site, and then there's a multitude of other steps before they get to go vertical. So they're still in the sort of preliminary phases. The drainage plan could have some fatal flaws that require them to put in significant detention or retention that they say, oh, forget about it. There's not enough buildable land here, or that significantly modifies our building footprint, or that significantly modifies what we're able to do on the piece of property, which is why I think the BEDC having specific time periods is important. A very wide time period, I don't know how that benefits anybody.
Let me maybe ask it a different way. I mean, I understand what you're saying there, but what are you going to do different that is going to give anybody here a warm and fuzzy feeling that, are you changing engineers? Are you got 100 more people working on it? Are you paying more money to an engineering firm? I mean, what are you doing different today that you're asking for that you didn't do for the last 2 years?
Well, Riley and I are going to be involved with this as 100% instead of allowing Mocha Financial to drive the bus with us. We shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have let them do that with the project. That's what we feel that is where we are. I mean, we can get it going quicker. There's no question about it. But we have to be involved with it and not allow somebody that is not in our position to do that. We have to be involved with it, which we are at this point. And I shouldn't have said involved with it. We have to be the main contact in pushing it forward, not allowing somebody else to be that person.
Sylvia, does Mocha Ventures owe the 50% of the road up to $500,000?
Yes, the agreement is with Mocha Ventures.
So were you intending, when the agreement was done, that you would have gotten your rebate and you were going to use that money to pay for the road?
No, we can pay our our share, yes. And then as the agreement comes about, then it would be rebated, I guess you'd say.
So Sylvia, if you're paid in next week, when does their $500,000 become payable?
At acceptance of the road.
So within a month?
Within a month, yes.
May I ask a question of the Bosches? Hi, thanks for flying in for this, by the way. They live in Nebraska. The last extension the BEDC granted, I don't know why I said ask a question, I'm actually making a fact. The last extension reset the new commencement date to August 7th, 2024. So what is your anticipated date for commencement, just for my records, so that I can, type it up? What are you asking for? I heard 12 to 18. I kind of need a date. And then the certificate of occupancy is Connie said, is January 1st, 2027. You don't anticipate that changing. So, or am I mistaken?
That's going to be in 2028. That's what we ask. We could do 12 months for the building permit, but we do ask 2028, January 1 of 2028.
So Sylvia, I'd like to hear a recommendation of what you're thinking right now.
So from an EDC perspective, I've got two significant issues. One, what is the, not just the ROI, but what is the intended result if we sat here and talked about workforce and workforce solutions and employment? We don't have a number, don't know what that number is going to be, have absolutely no clue, because their tenant has to come up with that number. That's issue number one. Issue number two is if the tenant does not complete, it's Mocha Ventures, but Mocha Ventures isn't in the business of Mocha Financial, correct? You're on the board, but that's not your business. Right. So I think when the board had the discussion, it was sort of a build to suit issue. That's what we were thinking is I've got a tenant who is tied at the hip with the developer and we're going to build and we're going to be great, and the Austin American-Statesman and everybody grabbed it about how many employees we were going to bring. It feels a little bit like a bait and switch. And I've had this discussion. It feels we've committed. It's a significant hit to the budget. The rest of the story to that is the EDC is driven by sales taxes, right? You're driven by sales taxes. It is no doubt they will put a significant amount of money on the ground in terms of property taxes. I don't know how many employees, so I can't even give you an ROI of what those employees would drive in terms of sales taxes. That's where I am struggling. Yes, ma'am.
So your recommendation?
Amberly has.
Well,
one.
I just had one more question. So we're talking about changing the certificate of occupancy to 2028, January of 2028, and that's just for the Phase 1, the 13,000 square feet with 50 employees. What are we looking at for Phase 2, and what's the square footage on that, and what time frame?
That is 40,000 to 60,000 square foot in January 1 of 2030.
So Chair, I would have a hard time recommending that the board consider the extension. At the last meeting that we had, there was a 6-month extension that was requested. I said 6 months is not enough. Give them a year. I also recall my very first month here sort of being called on the carpet as to how we were not facilitating the project fast enough and what could we do. And I moved heaven and earth to get the site plan, moved heaven and earth to get all of the information that was required, and then we didn't have a submittal. So I have a little bit of an issue of just even understanding where they are, even understanding where they are in the submittal phase, and coming to completion on a project that has an unknown ROI.
So if we were to focus on the knowns, the knowns are a piece of property's been purchased by an entity. The value of that property's gone up over the time period that they've owned it. That's just factual. I am thrilled to hear you're in a position to pay for your half of a road that this entity's designed and constructed and is going to be beneficial not only to your project but to all of the industrial park. And Mr. Zeck, I think from an attorney standpoint, really, it's up to the board of what would we do with the document. So one of the things that doesn't seem to be a good use of your time is flying in to talk to us about why your dates are slipping. I would rather you be flying in to talk to the city planning department and the city engineers about getting stuff done. So it seems like, and Mr. Zeck, you'll tell me if I am off on planet Mars. One thing we could do is just say, we're done.
Right.
You own the property, we've built the road, you're paying us for half the road, and then BEDC's out of it? Or is that not
So
even
the
a
property
possibility?
reverts back to BEDC.
That's the remedy. The remedy is reversion of the property.
And well, if we're talking about revising the phases, can we also say we aren't taking the property back because that we're not
Sure.
paying them $900,000 back?
Sure, this body can negotiate whatever they like with, I mean, it's an arm's length transaction, has to be negotiated, but yes, but under the current agreement, it's a reversion of the property.
And that's what I was saying, was
Right.
we can change the current agreement because we're obviously changing one part of it, so we could change the other part.
Under the
Do you have
current agreement.
opinions about that?
Yes, under the current agreement, the property reverts back, and they're still on the hook for half of the road, up to $500,000. And the road was over 1.1 million.
So then the question for the board is, do we want, whether it's Mocha Ventures Nebraska, sorry, I have to keep looking down at the proper name, Mocha Ventures Nebraska or Mocha, if we feel like Mocha's still committed and they're going to be here, that build-to-suit could turn into office space, and you own the land and you own the building, and if you're not able to work things out with Mocha Financial, which is really not our beeswax because we don't have an agreement with Mocha Financial, it's industrial, it's a building in the industrial park that could be many, many things.
Right.
Or vacant office space.
Right.
And that's, part of my charge is to give you guys the hard information and give it to you straight. We're not exactly in high demand of office space. With the remote work, we're not exactly banging down the door for office space. So to build an office space building that may potentially house employees or may not, it is the board's decision. It's my simple recommendation not to move forward.
So you think we should take the property back?
I think we should allow Mocha to continue their final, they don't go into default until 2 months from now. April. April, August.
August the 20th. August the
August.
7th, I believe.
Mhm.
So there's a little bit more to do. Do we have any further questions from the board?
So if we don't if we don't extend, what could you guys accomplish between now and August? Anything? Just, you said you're working on it aggressively.
Absolutely. That gives our engineers time to get our site plan finalized and turned into the city for review. That gets the construction process going. This piece of ground takes time. When we went into this project with contract negotiations with members of the EDC that are no longer here, we were told this piece of ground really wasn't for sale. And we took that upon ourselves. As we'd really like that for a financial campus overlooking the pond. It was in the toad habitat. It was not built on ever before, and believe it was even had some runoff, that was the belief that that was the only possible thing for that piece of ground, was just for runoff. And so, like I said, we went into this very aggressive, and I think that has obviously gotten us here. There are a lot of challenges just with the ground itself that we have ran into and we have tried to work through. So we're working on it, and that's why we're here.
So Sylvia, if they bring a site plan by August, what does that do for us? Does that get us anywhere further down the field, or no impact at all? We're still in the same situation.
Before they get to site plan, they have to have their drainage plan approved. And we're not there yet.
Would it help if we had Mocha Financial come and speak about their company?
Personally, I don't think it will.
Okay.
All right, personally, I don't think that would actually help. I think that's who we've been talking to, who y'all have been talking to, and we haven't really made much progress. So I'm not sure that would actually help your cause.
Okay.
And that's just my opinion, okay? You know, I'm inclined to accept the recommendation here of to not give another extension on this program, because it's just been one after another after another. I'm just not inclined, and I'm only speaking for myself here. You know, to Director Schrader's comments, right, you own the property, that's right. And there will come a point in time where we need to make a decision of what we want to do with that property, right? But right now, what we're faced with today is, do we grant another extension? And I'm just not of the mind that that's something that would work. So that's it. Do you guys have anything else you would like to add?
I think in spite of a rejected proposal of that, I would like to open negotiations for that, see what works for you guys, see what your thoughts on negotiating that timeline, the incentives, phase 1, phase 2. I think that would be something that we would look into.
I just had one more question, and I am, much like the rest of the people on this board, I'm very direct. So please don't take it offensively. But are you not on the board for Mocha Financial? And if you are, were you not part of the decisions that were made through Mocha Financial to make the changes that were done that have slowed the process of the construction down?
There was no conversation outside of the deal that Mocha Financial made with us as being the tenant within the board.
None in the board with you? Okay.
No.
Any other comments? You guys have anything you want to add to this? Well, I'm going to ask for a motion to accept the recommendation of Sylvia that we do not give another extension. So I'd like to hear a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation of Sylvia to not extend the agreement, the extension.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, the motion carries. I will say that now that we've come to this conclusion on that, we're still able to talk with you about things, right? And because you're not in default yet. So we'll see what comes out of this, because we have a decision point in the future to make. So I would suggest you guys put your thinking caps on and come back and see if we can't work something out. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. But I think you've heard what our thoughts were. So thank you very much.
From an expedited standpoint, we will run all of the submittals concurrently, if that's what it takes. Right now, they're coming in very piecemeal, so it's going to take a very long time. If you got the engineers going and you got pedal to the metal, you may make the August timeframe. It's February. Stranger things have happened. We have a couple of entities who have moved despite a portion of road not being there. I mean, they're well into plan review. Another entity who, when electrical wasn't there, is already almost at certificate of occupancy, and those things worked concurrently. So we understand the challenges in the park, but that's also why the land was very cheap.
So when would we talk about or discuss the recoup of the cost of the street? Is that for
That's
after
for
they
the attorneys.
default?
Yes,
Or-
after
okay.
default, that's for the attorneys to work out.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much. We are now going to move back over to 3B, workshop and possible action to discuss the BEDC financial reports for December 2023 and January 2024, as well as the budget and future amendments as a result of the reduction of the revenues in fiscal year 2024.
Board, Angela and I are going to tag team this, but I'm going to move to the computer where Rick is at. So as you guys talk about the budget, we'll be looking at working numbers.
Okay.
If there's anything that chooses to be amended. Yes, and our chief financial officer is also available. So Edie, if you want to sit here. Would it be helpful to sit at the back table? We can do that also. Okay.
And then you can put it up on that screen?
Yes.
And did everybody get a copy of this?
You won't be mic'd, and the folks at home, we will pause this, but we'll make, what do you think?
Spencer, you think they could go ahead and approve the minutes just so that you guys, well, you're going to have to come up and adjourn anyway. Okay, just remember that. Don't try to adjourn from back there.